Among its many talents, PHP is capable of handling calculations from simple arithmetic to much more complex mathematics. The order confirmation page in the Hansel and Petal site needs just some basic multiplication and addition. What we need to do is to add the cost here and then to add a total at the end and add a shipping charge if the total comes to less than $75. So let's get to work in the order page. Go to the editing program and then in order.php, let's create a variable to store the total. We'll put that at the top here, the end of the first block. Set total to 0. And then in the loop, in the table, we need to find the cell that displays the price. There it is with a $sign. The $sign will be a literal $sign. It won't be part of the PHP. So the PHP block goes immediately after that. And inside there, what we need to do is to calculate the cost. So the cost will be amount, that's the number of flowers selected, and it will be times. In PHP, we use the asterisk for the multiplication sign, and then it will be from the price array. We're looking for that particular flower name. So that will get us the cost, but we want to display the cost. And we could add another line and do echo cost on that next line, but in fact, we can echo the cost, do the calculation in the same thing. Why am I saving it as cost? Because I actually want to add it to the total. So add on another line, and then we need to add that value to the total. We need to use a special assignment operator. We want to keep on adding the same value again. So it's plus equals cost. It's the same as saying total equals total plus cost. It's just a shorthand way of writing that. So let's just save that and test it. We'll go back to the other page. We'll just order a couple of quick flowers. There we are. There is the cost being displayed for each one that we've selected. So that's fine. That is definitely working. So let's go back to our code and continue working with it. So what we need to do is to display the shipping charge and the total. We need two new rows in the table, and they need to go outside the for each loop, because if you put them inside the for each loop, they'll be repeated every single time we go through. So that is one of the reasons that I use this alternative way, end for each. It makes it much easier to find out exactly where you are. So what we need to do after the end for each is to add a couple of table rows. And in that we need TD, and it needs to span 4 columns. We'll call that shipping. So there we are. We've got the 2 extra rows that we need in our table to display the shipping and the total. So we now need to add the code to calculate the shipping, and that goes in this table cell here. We'll add a PHP block. And it's a decision-making block. So if, and the condition is total is less than 75, and then we need a pair of curly braces for that block. And in there, we will echo then a string, $10. Now, don't confuse that. That is not a variable. Although it's got a $sign on it, it can't be a variable, because variables cannot begin with a number immediately after the $sign. Anyway, it's within single quotes, so all we would see would be that actual value, a $sign followed by 10. We now need to add that value to the total. So total plus equals, and then the number 10, not a string, and that adds up the total. But if it's $75 or more, we're going to offer free shipping, so we need an else block. And inside that else block, we will echo free. And all that remains is in this cell down here, is to display the total, and we'll display it with a literal $, which will go outside of the PHP block. Echo total. So let's just save that page, and we'll go to our browser, and we'll go back to the Build a Bouquet page, and we'll build a new bouquet. Just choosing a few flowers at random just to check that it works. And JavaScript works out that it should come to $33. Let's see if PHP agrees. Add to basket. There we are. It actually does agree. It says $43. It's added in $10 for shipping because it was less than 75. And if you test it by adding a lot of flowers, more than $75 worth, then of course the shipping would be free. So the order confirmation page really looks great now, but there is a problem. Although the confirm order button is only a dummy link, just imagine for a moment that it does work. See what happens if you decide to look at another page before clicking it. So I'm going to go to our designers, and then I'm going to click View My Order, the link at the top here. Your basket is empty. What has happened is that when you move away to another page, the post array is refreshed every single time a page is requested. The data has been passed from the form to the next script, which was the order PHP, but it's lost unless you do something to preserve the data. And that's our next task.